HTTV in association with Absolute Warehouse Services. Danny, thank you for joining us. Obviously, this is a difficult time for everyone, but how are you and your family? How are they getting on?
Yeah, hello, Adam. Nice to speak to you. Yeah, obviously, crazy times. Feels very surreal. When we were told that the Wigan game wouldn't go ahead, I don't think any of us anticipated being away for as long as we have been. But this is the situation. Obviously, we're lucky enough to all be together here and all fit and healthy. So we're trying to see the positives in it. We're certainly very appreciative of all the work that's been done by the NHS and all of the key workers doing a fantastic job in terms of looking after our country, and our heart is with them. But no, we're just trying to adapt as best as we can, see the positives, try to find some opportunity to reflect and to learn, and yeah, spending some time with the family as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, because since you and Nikki came to Huddersfield Town, you've both been working relentlessly, all the hours under the sun, and you've not really had much family time. I suppose for what is a difficult situation, that is a little positive, isn't it? That you get to spend a little bit more time with them and your kids.
Well, this is it. Yeah, no. So George is 6 and Isabella is 10, but I've probably spent more time with them in the last 3 to 4 weeks than I have done in their whole lifetime. So that has been a blessing. They've lucky enough, my wife's a teacher as well, so she's been in charge of the homeschooling, and that's allowed me to do some work, which has been good. But no, it's been a positive. Has been that we've spent some time together as a family, and that's been gratefully received. But obviously missing Huddersfield and missing the football for sure.
Yeah, I think everyone is. But we've learned something new about you over the last few weeks. You're a top chef, aren't you?
Well, I wouldn't go that far. My wife's been doing these kind of come dine with me challenges on social media. So I haven't actually seen the outcome in terms of the social media, but I made mussels last week and I won. It was a bit Eurovision Song Contest in terms of the voting. I did bribe my eldest daughter, but yeah, I won. And then I got a bit ahead of myself this week, and I tried to make salmon with scallops and prawns, and it was all going well. But then the carbohydrate, the potato, so I ended up with potato waffles to go with it. So it was yeah, it was what it was. I think I've learned a good lesson in staying humble and not getting ahead of myself. But I think on the back of last night, I've actually retired my time in the kitchen. I've learned that if you don't practice, then you won't be good at something. So no, I'm going to stay well away from the kitchen and leave that to my wife.
Sticking obviously with the football, it is a very different time at the moment. With you being in Lincoln and at home isolated, what have you been working on?
Well, I think obviously it's a unique time. It's probably the only time in all of our lives where kind of someone's hit the pause button. So first of all, it's definitely given us a chance to reflect. Obviously, it's football management, and the football industry is 100 miles per hour, and even between seasons, you don't really get the time to reflect. So it's been a really good opportunity to be able to do that, to kind of especially coming in to Huddersfield mid-season, early September. It's been a whirlwind, so it's given us a really good opportunity to reflect, look at what we've done well, look at maybe areas we could improve on. Certainly, it's given us some time to upskill. So we've enjoyed doing that. We're working hard in terms of recruitment, trying to look at some foreign leagues and watch some football in different countries, and get a good gauge of those divisions. We feel like we know the lower divisions in this country really, really well, having come from them. So now we've done some good recruitment work in some different countries as well as obviously our own. Also done some work around our coaching library, just trying to work hard with Nikki to put all of our drills into a library, so that hopefully we can use that with the academy so that we can have similar sort of smooth transition to when the academy players come and train with us. We use similar drills, and yeah, just trying to connect the drills really to our philosophy and the way we want to play, and really try to produce a coaching curriculum for Huddersfield Town, which we think will certainly help our planning, which is obviously a really important part of what we do, and trying to find different ways both on the grass and off the grass to coach the players and educate the players. So now hopefully we're developing those provisions, which will in turn help the environment, help the players when we're allowed to get back to playing.
And one of the strangest things for you, obviously, must be not having Nicky next to you all the time. Obviously, we're travelling in together, working together. Now you're isolated from him in terms of communication and the way you work, because we know how close you are together in what you are doing. How's that been?
Well, he lives next door actually, so
does he?
Yeah, we're able to communicate. We actually have we sometimes speak via Microsoft Teams on a conference call, but alternatively we talk over the garden fence, and so no, we're not too far away, which is a positive. And now, like I said, we're really respectful and appreciative of what the NHS are doing, but for us, we're trying to see the opportunity in this moment, trying to be positive, keep a good routine, and work really hard, because we just see the chances to do this, and we feel that if we can do this, we'll put ourselves in a really good place once we get back to playing.
And in terms of obviously the wider team, the incoming head of football, Lee Bromby, how have you used this time to communicate with them, and how important is communication with them in this moment?
Yeah, well, I think it's vital. So we have regular meetings. I speak to Lee every day, and then we speak to all of our department heads on a regular basis as well, at least twice a week. So some of our other staff have been furloughed, so they're not able to work at the moment. But all of our lieutenants, as I call them, are able to work, and that it's just given us really good opportunity, really, to look at the provisions, look at how we do things, look at the environment and the culture that we're trying to create for the players, and try to find ways of making it better. And it's been a really enjoyable process actually, and we've enjoyed doing it, and I think we've made some good strides, which hopefully we'll see the benefits of, as I say, once we get back on the grass.
Because like you've alluded to, it's a unique time in that sense in football, where there's not many opportunities where you can come out of football almost for this period of time to look at what you've done, to look at new provisions that you could put in place. So the time could be really valuable for us.
I think so. I think the nature of football, particularly for a football manager, is you're very operational. You go from game to game. And even when we're lucky enough to have had success at our previous clubs, we've kind of had gained promotions, won cups, but you move on very quickly and you move on to the next project. So this has given us a really good opportunity to be a bit more strategic, to look a little bit longer term. Certainly, like I said, we put good work into the recruitment and good work into looking at our planning and our coaching. Looking at how we can try to create a provision really for the players to develop and improve, and that is obviously a key part of what we're trying to achieve at Huddersfield Town. So no, it's been really valuable. We've obviously also had the opportunity to speak to the players regularly. We're lucky in this day and age. On the morning of the Wigan game, actually, we were obviously preparing our final training session before going into that game, when we got the call to tell us that the game wouldn't be going ahead. We took the time to still train the players, because we were, at that time, we anticipated maybe we wouldn't play at the weekend, but we would be picking up football relatively soon. So we thought we'd get a really hard session into them, which we did. And that kind of gave us the time to then In the afternoon, give all the players heart rate belts, GPS, and we connected them all up to an app. The sports science team led by John Iger did a brilliant job. All the boys got an app. They've all got their belts, so we're able to give them conditioning sessions and monitor exactly what they do. So we know exactly what they're doing. It's a bit like the Big Brother house. They can't breathe without us knowing about it, which is good. Good for us, maybe not so good for them, but certainly it's allowed us to obviously within government guidelines, it's allowed us to get some good conditioning into the players. Obviously, a lot of it is quite generic in terms of the fitness work, but Brookie and his team managed on the Monday before we went into lockdown. On the Monday after the Wigan game, we were able to get equipment out to all the players. So he got in the van and drove around the country, dropping off bikes and different gym equipment, so that we can make the programs bespoke to each individual. So hopefully that in the long term will benefit us, because what we are anticipating when we do come back is that we may only have 2 to 3 weeks to prepare for 9 games, which we're anticipating playing in a very, very sort of short proximity.
In terms of the work that the players are doing, obviously you and the other heads of departments, your lieutenants, like you said, put that together. How do you manage that week by week when we're in this situation? Is it in terms of looking at the loads that they've done in the past, the heart rate monitors, the measurements that are coming through? How do you put that together?
Well, normally it's easy, because you normally look at the outcome that you want to achieve, and then you work backwards from there, and that's how you plan. But obviously at the moment we're not quite sure when we're back. The EFL have kind of given us a date of around the 16th of May to back to training. So then we anticipate maybe having 2 to 3 weeks preparation time. So we're working to those guidelines at the moment, but it hasn't been easy, because obviously none of us at this moment, for obvious reasons, have clarity. But so we're working back from now. Obviously all the players are at different stages in terms of their fitness levels. Some have played near on 35 games already this season. Others have had injuries and maybe haven't been in the starting 11 and haven't played as much football. So we've managed to sort of look at it case by case and try to put bespoke programs together for all the players. And from there, really, they're all in small. We've categorised them all into small groups, and the staff that are still able to work, they are kind of looking after a group each. And that allows us to be in regular contact with the players, and to monitor their fitness, monitor their outputs, monitor their progression. And really at this time, because we're still in, this is where it's so unique. If it was a closed season, we would pretty much close them down at this stage and give them a break. But obviously we're in season. We know we're not going to have the benefit of 6 weeks leading to finishing the season like you would have in a pre-season. So we've got to make sure we stay on top of their fitness levels, so that when we do come back, we can hit the ground running. So it's been interesting actually, because obviously normally you're periodising each year, but you've lived it so many times, and the patterns and the trends and the timings are all the same. So it's normally much easier, but this has definitely been interesting. And John Iger and the sports science boys have been well on top of it. So it's been a good project for them, and I think we've all taken some good learning from it.
Yeah, 100%, and I'm sure that learning will go on in the future as well. In terms of the players mentally as well, there's a big shift there almost as well, isn't there? Because they're not preparing for competitive football, but in this situation at the moment, there's some of the lads who've come over from abroad, for example, whose families are abroad, they're over here on their own. So we have to look after them mentally as well, make sure that they're feeling okay.
Without a doubt, I think in this situation, it puts pressure on all of us mentally, doesn't it? It's unique. We're all used to, we're kind of social animals. We're used to being able to socialise. We're obviously not allowed to with the government restrictions. And I think what's hard for people is that you know, you see what the NHS are doing, and it's heroic, isn't it? What we're doing, we're being asked to stay in, and although by staying in, we're making a huge difference. I think it's hard for people because probably they don't see anything that's tangible, and it's certainly not heroic staying in. But ultimately we know that by doing that, we're going to have a real effect and hopefully get over this virus as a country and globally, and be able to move on. But it has been hard for the players. There's no hiding place from that. What we've tried, particularly, you know, like you've alluded to, that you know, we've got some boys that obviously have family back at home, back in the countries that they originate from, and some of them are living in smaller apartments, and it's not been easy. So we've been in regular contact with them, with all of our players. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get routine. So it's about going to bed at the same time, getting up at the same time. They've all got to send they've all got normally 2 sessions to do per day, normally a cardiovascular based session and then a strength based session. So they have to do those sessions they certainly have to do the first session by 1 o'clock. So trying to get a good routine, trying to make sure that, again, within government guidelines, that they get out and get some fresh air and get some much needed vitamin D. And also trying to encourage them to try to upskill and find, you know, some times to read and learn, and maybe do things that maybe they don't get the time for when they're working day in, day out, and just trying to keep them open-minded, really. But no, certainly, you know, we've worked hard as a club to try to support them as best as we can. We respect that, you know, we're in a really fortunate positions in terms of the profession that we do, and being able to do a job that we love and have a real passion for. We're obviously missing it, but we're respectful that there's a lot of people that are in a lot worse position for us, and that, you know, they're very much in the forefront of all of our thoughts. And you know, for us, again, the players have been doing some work with the foundation and in the community. I know that a lot of the boys have been making calls to supporters, maybe our younger supporters who have got birthdays but not able to have the party, or not able to celebrate it in the way they would like, and also to some of our older supporters that are maybe on their own and are lonely at this time. So they've done some good work. I know professional football has taken some criticism over this period, but I could tell you that I can only really speak for our players and the ones that I work with, and they've been brilliant. I'm sure you'll know this, but they've been fantastic. Always really keen to help and do whatever they can to help people of Huddersfield.
Yeah, it's funny what you mentioned about upskilling as well. We spoke to Pritch earlier this week, and he told us how he'd been getting into his gardening again. And then all over social media, we've seen Lewis O'Brien and Harry Toffolo on TikTok. Did you know Harry could dance?
Well, I'm not sure he can, but I've seen Harry Toffolo. He's now a social media superstar, isn't he? Certainly in our house, my daughter keeps bringing me videos of him kicking balls through windows and sliding down the stairs on his mattress. And the problem is my children are trying to convince me that we should do that, but I have to try to explain to them that Harry's 24 and I'm 40 plus, so it's not happening. But no, it's been great and it's good. You see Toffs, he's got incredible amount of energy, and I've been watching Lewis O'Brien doing some soccer skills and different bits, some tricks and different bits, and it's been good to see. We're lucky in the 21st century that we live in, with social media now and with all of these different outlets. We're able to communicate better now than ever, and it's in this particular time that's very important.
And just finally, Danny, obviously Huddersfield Town supporters will be keenly listening to this. Do you have a message for them?
Just that we're missing them very much, for them to stay safe. It's one of the great things that has come out of this really difficult period is just how much kinder people seem to be to each other at the moment, and it's been really lovely to see. just shows you that sometimes you see the best of people in adversity. But no, just to stay safe. We know that this is a really difficult time. Hopefully they're missing us and missing the football. We're certainly missing them. I think that, you know, if we can stay focused and disciplined and keep adhering to government guidelines, like I said previously, you know, although we don't see anything tangible, by doing that, we know that it's the right thing to do. And, you know, I'm sure for me, certainly, but everybody is testing our discipline. But if we can stay really focused, then we'll come through this sooner rather than later. And if we can do that, hopefully we can get back to the John Smith Stadium and finish what we started.
Thank you very much for taking the time out to speak to us, Danny.
My pleasure. Lovely to speak to you. Thanks for your time, Adam.